My friend and I recently visited the Duck Valley Reservation of the Shoshone Paiute tribe, and in order to get there, you have to drive from Boise down through a very remote part of the country and through the ghost town of Grasmere, which I just kind of wanted to show off on the way to the reservation. But here you can see the reservation. It straddles the border between Nevada and Idaho. And this video isn't from Idaho itself. I'm standing in Montana now, but it shows the county, Owyhee County. And walking along here, I actually trip in this video, but you can take a look and see this town used to be a gas station and a post office, and really it was built just to serve the remote air base kind of station here that was supposed to support Mountain Home in their training missions. But in the window there, you can see a red dress, which has become a protest symbol of the hundreds of Native American women who are missing off the reservations that go unresearched and undocumented by police, both because of a conflict of jurisdiction and from a general lack of interest. They're seen as people that the police don't even bother with helping. Visiting too much of the reservation because it was getting later in the day, but there's not much to see in the local area. And the majority population of Owyhee County, I believe as well, is Native American. They are Western Shoshone and Paiute tribe. But looking out here, we can see this community also serviced a small remote airstrip, which has been unmanned since around the 1950s. And it kind of looks suspicious. This is one of those remote airstrips where people, you can see them loading bags into the planes. Wonder what they're flying around, you know? But this is the Duck Valley Reservation. And as history goes, it was established by executive order to put two separate tribes of people together on a same small tract of land, the Western Shoshone and the Paiute tribes. I'll show where their ancestral homelands were, but eventually white people tried claiming it. That's the Northern Paiute. The Western Shoshone were just to the east of them. White people tried claiming it, and they tried pushing the Native American tribes back up towards Fort Hall in Idaho. And you can see that in western South Idaho. And they resisted that successfully and stayed on the reservation. But here you can take a look at some of the graves. We came to the cemetery looking for the grave of Tina Manning, who was murdered in 1979. And the FBI claims that she and her whole family, apart from her father-in-law, died in a house fire. But they also implicated John Trudell, her husband. And the story here is very complicated. To me, it seems like a federal assassination or something akin to what was happening on the Lakota reservation with the Goons, the Guardians of the Oglala Nation, which were kind of on the payroll of the FBI. And her story is she's the daughter of a tribal chairman, and she was fighting for the rights of tribal access to the Windhorse Reservoir just a little bit south. And she was also very active in the American Indian movement, but John Trudell was probably the most outspoken. And you can see here their family. She's on the left and Trudell's on the right. And Trudell was seen as one of the most impassionate speakers of AIM. And on that day that she was killed, he was actually over in Washington, D.C., out in front of the FBI building. And that's the reservoir which she fought for water rights to. And even though he was all the way across the country, the FBI implicated him and claimed that either he or his buddies burned down her house. And he never really made any statements on it, as far as I can tell, but this is FBI documents relating to Trudell. And you can see they actually planned on charging him with insurrection. But he took a big role in Wounded Knee as well. They were planning on charging him with insurrection, but they wanted to silence him by charging him with murder and basically throwing away the key. This never really panned out, but this is us leaving the reservation, and we actually passed through the Grasmere Site, which is run by the 266th Squadron of Mountain Home Air Force Base. And this is a training area that they use as a radar for the flights over here. And I recognize this because there's a similar installation over at Dugway Proving Ground, where there's another reservation, the Skull Valley Paiute, or the Skull Valley Goshute Reservation. And it's, again, environmental racism. They fly flights over here. They break the sound barrier. They forget that people really just live here. And at least over in Dugway Proving Ground, they almost killed the whole reservation decades back by unleashing just a huge payload of VX nerve gas just off the res. But you can look into environmental racism as much as you like. But that is the short tour, the Shopai Reservation.